I like to use a red pen when I do this, just so that I can see the various steps. So I'm just going to start adding rectangular shapes around all of these areas, and it really kind of doesn't matter if they overlap, because that's what makes for a very interesting and dynamic layout. Now notice how fat it is here and how skinny it is here. I can just correct that by doing another line, because I want these letters to be consistent. The only thing is this part of the E is not as fat as the other two, so I'm going to make this one skinny like it is on the model sheet that you've been working from. On the X, I'm going to do the top of the X here, the bottom here, and then I'm just going to connect the lines. Notice how it's skinnier at the bottom than it is at the top, and I can even extend these out a bit. Connect the lines, and again, I'm not worried about making them perfectly straight. I'm certainly not using a ruler on this, I'm just doing this freehand. The P actually has two shapes. There's this shape at the bottom. Again, it's curved like this part of the E is. And I want to try and keep it consistent in the thickness. The top part starts here, comes down here, and comes around. And I'm just, for the most part, I'm just going around both sides of this yellow line, which is the skeleton or the bones. And it's actually a little bit fatter than I want it, so I can make that a little thinner. Here's the second E. Again, start with this part. Try and keep the consistency of the thickness. Notice the overlap over the top of the R here. If it goes off the page, that's okay. We can fix that on the next stage, because it's going to actually be on a larger sheet of paper. Here's the R. Again, I'm trying to keep the thickness of these letters about the same all the way through. This part of the R comes down like this, and just like on the P, curves around there. I'm going to bring it straight across here, and there's actually a little curve at the top here too. I'm doing with this ballpoint pen because I don't want to erase anything. This actually gets cut off like that, and then from here it comes down from here and like that. And then actually the R, after it comes down here, it actually curves at the bottom here. This top part of the eye, I'm just going to do this big oval. Do a rectangle here. Notice how again it starts off wide and goes skinny at the bottom. These are all basic shapes. For the most part, rectangular shapes, overlapped. And I like the way it tapers and gets smaller at this end than this end. It gives it a real dynamic look. Here's the M. Since there's an empty space in here, I can stretch the M up a little higher. I'm going to do this other part of the M over here and bring it down like this. Then I'm going to bring from here and here. Bring these two rectangles down. This E overlaps that part of the M. Try and keep it consistent. Notice how all the overlaps in here. This is going to be really interesting when we get to this part where we do the next step where we outline everything. The N I'm going to actually cut short here and fill up this area. Bring it down. And since this E is up here, the N originally went way up there, but I'm going to cut it off right here this time. There's a lot of overlapping parts in here. And then finally the T, I'm going to start off small and make it big on this side. again, just to make it more dynamic. Curve it like that, curve it like that. And I'm going to move this over a little bit too because I don't want to overlap the N here too much. So I'm going to cheat and go this way, and then go like that for the T. And maybe even make it skinnier at the top. So this is what we're calling the muscle part of the T, and all of the other letters.